guys, my name is Vidhi Kalra and welcome back to my channel 5 Minute Economics, where I teach economic concepts in a span of just 5 minutes. The topic for today, we are going to be continuing with our supply series, and here is my third video on the supply series, which is called Exceptional Supply Curves. Well, if you've seen the previous two videos, especially the previous one, which was the law of supply, you would definitely know that as the price rises, the supply rises because, it's more profitable to sell at a higher price. But there are some exceptions in the case where the supply or the law of supply actually doesn't operate. What are those cases? When does this happen? I will be discussing those two very interesting exceptions in this particular video, and trust me guys, they are very interesting to watch. So yeah, let's get started. So firstly guys, let me remind you what actually is the shape of a supply curve. Well, it is upward sloping, and this is the shape actually guys, positively inclined. Okay, that is the usual supply curve, but here we are doing exceptions, and in the first exceptional curve we are going to be studying about the vertical supply curve. Now, when is the case when we have a vertical supply curve? We have two scenarios when that can be possible. The first one being in the case of antiques. Guys, what are antiques? Antiques are priceless goods of the bygone era. Antiques, let's talk about coins of the Indus Valley civilization and old stamps and postcards, all the old things, in the past. So antiques, the supply remains unchanged in spite of the changes of the price level. Why guys? Because we cannot increase its supply now. For example, let's talk about the Mona Lisa painting, the original one. There are a lot of copies about it, but the original, there is only one Mona Lisa painting, right? Even if, there's a huge hike in price, we cannot increase the supply of Mona Lisa paintings. There is only one Mona Lisa painting, which is the actual one, and we cannot increase the supply. It's an antique good. And even if the price has risen, the supply cannot be changed. So supply remains unchanged, irrespective if the price is rising, price is falling, doesn't affect the supply. So I hope you're clear with the first case. Second case, what are highly perishable goods? Goods which cannot be hoarded, guys. We have to use, in a certain duration. Let's talk about milk. Milk is a highly perishable good. We all know milk, we cannot store and hoard milk for a long time, right? So supply remains same, irrespective of the changes in the price, as these goods cannot be hoarded because they have to be sold at whatever be the price. Now let's talk about a certain festival. I think it's Nag Panchami, where gods are feeded milk. And in fact, there are many festivals in India where milk is required, right? A milkman who has a cow and milks, he sells milk. He knows that, tomorrow there will be a lot of demand for milk. But actually, because milk being a highly perishable good, he cannot hoard that milk. Whatever his cow is giving today, he will have to sell it at whatever price. And tomorrow, whatever the cow is giving, he has to, sell at that price. He cannot hoard the milk for a few days so that he can, save it to sell on that day. Even though on that day he would get a huge amount of money, because of course at that day there will be a lot of demand, so that day he can increase the supply. But that day he cannot increase the supply even if the price is rising. Why? Because it is a highly perishable good. He will not be able to hoard it or store it. So that is one case when our supply doesn't rise even though the price has risen. So these are the two cases of the vertical supply curve. I'll just show you the diagram in the coming video. So coming to the diagram of a vertical supply curve, honestly very simple curve. We have quantity supplied on the x-axis and price on the y-axis. Initially, we notice when our price is P, our quantity supplied is Q. When our price rises to P dash, quantity supplied doesn't change. Whereas when our price falls from P to P double dash, again our quantity supplied doesn't change. It basically remains unaffected, and this from SS, SS is our supply curve, which is vertical and parallel to the y-axis because there is no change in the quantity supply. Even if the price rises or falls, it remains unaffected. And basically guys, you can also call this curve as a perfectly inelastic supply curve. So now guys, coming to our next exceptional supply curve, which is the backward sloping supply curve. Very interesting concept, studied at many levels, studied at many chapters, under maybe individual chapters also we have this term called backward sloping supply curve. Very interesting concept. What is it guys? This case is possible in the case of labor supply. Such a curve is only possible in that case. What happens in that case? Here it states that we have noticed that when the wages tend to rise, the number of hours put in by the labor tends to fall. Why does that happen? Because they prefer leisure to labor. Now let me give you a small example. You're working supposedly 6 hours a day and earning 1 lakh rupee a month. That's quite a good amount, right? Now you are working 8 hours a day and you are getting 1.5 lakh a month. A very good concept. Again, I mean, very good money you're getting. But now again, because you're working better, maybe, like again, you've got a promotion and now your salary from 1.5 has increased to 1.7 lakh. But your workload has increased from 8 hours to 12 hours. Now in 24 hours, 12 hours you have to work, which is like a 9 to 9 kind of job, which is quite a huge time, right? So you might actually think I was better off with 8 hours and 1.5 lakh, because what am I earning the money for? Because after working for 12 hours, I'm literally dead and I have no time to spend that money on myself or on my family. So rather than actually preferring this, I think most of us would go with 8 hours and 1.5 lakh, getting a lesser amount of income, but working lesser too, because you want to prefer leisure to labor. So that is what happens. Wages here actually basically constitute a price. We have noticed that when price rises, our supply rises. But here it says when a price, you don't have to say price anyway actually, but when our wages rises, our number of hours falls. We can see this with the help of the diagram. Again, quantity supplied on the x-axis, price of labor, which is basically the wages. This is on the y-axis, this is on the x-axis. We notice that initially, at OW, when our wages are OW, we are having, OQ amount of quantity supplied. Now our wages increase from OW to OW dash, but our quantity supplied falls from OQ to OQ dash. And if we join these, these dots and this line, we get this green supply curve, which is a backward sloping supply curve. So this is the case in case of wages. We all tend to prefer leisure to labor because, obviously we need that amount. So now guys, I would say we have learned 3 types of supply curve. One is, of course, the positively inclined, the actual supply curve. One is the, straight line, our parallel to y-axis supply curve. And now we've learned another one, which is our backward bending supply curve. So these are the 3 supply curves which you have to keep in mind. And that's all about this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video pretty soon.